Hey everybody, welcome back to Barbecue by Biggs. Today we are tackling those high beef prices. How are we doing that? That's right, by not buying beef. We're gonna show you guys how to take one of the cheapest cuts of pork and make a great meal out of it. If you guys wanna see this smoked pork loin, come along with us. Stay tuned. So with the price of meat, you guys know that most of your grocery stores, big box stores have these big pork loins, and they're very reasonable, either $1.77 a pound on sale, $1.99 a pound. You know, this one was, it's 9.68 pounds. It was $19.26. The good thing about this is that we can get several cooks out of this and feed our family several times for $19.26. We're gonna look for the best dark meat portion of this that has a little bit of white meat to make a smoked pork loin out of. The rest of it, the leaner stuff, we're gonna cut up into some big, thick pork chops to cook at a later date. So once we got it out of the package, now we're gonna make sure that we pat it good and dry, get all that moisture that came out of that bag, cryovac bag off of it, most that we can. Then we'll look for that perfect portion that we're gonna make that smoked roast out of. Now this end, if you look down here, this end is mostly dark meat and it's kind of oblong. So what we'll do is we'll cut this off and then we'll cut this up into chunks and we'll use it for like a stir fry or something like that. So we'll get that cut off here. Done deal. And then these are all about the same size. So those are the ones that we're gonna use for pork chops. So we'll just cut that here. And then we'll go ahead and cut those pork chops out of here and then we'll deep freeze them at a later date. So we'll just cut them, looks like about an inch or so. Cut those wide, thick pork chops. We'll just take this section at the end here and cut that off. We'll use that as stir fry as well. So now we have this portion here that we're gonna get ready to put on the smoker. All right, so we're just gonna use yellow mustard as a binder just to keep that rub on there. Really thin coat, just enough to put that on there. We're gonna be cooking this at 275 degrees. We're not gonna go slow and low with this. As you can tell, there's not just a whole lot of fat in it. So what you don't wanna do is have a real dry piece of meat after you get done. So we're gonna leave this fat on here and this fat's gonna render off the top. We might trim just a tad bit, but we're gonna leave that on there. We're gonna smoke it fat side up. That way all that fat goes down and keeps that meat a little bit moist. It's not gonna penetrate it, but it'll at least give it a little bit of protection on the top from the heat. All right, once we have that yellow mustard on, we're gonna put our rub on. We're using the PS Seasonings, the Notorious Pig Rub for this cook. You guys, the link in the description below, and you save 10% by clicking on that link. This stuff is some awesome seasoning. You gotta get you some of this. So we're just gonna do the Notorious Pig right on the top. As you can see, it's got a lot of red pepper flakes, a lot of larger pieces of seasoning. It's gonna be great. All right, got it all rubbed up. We can get it out on the smoker at 275 degrees. We'll meet you out there. All right, we got this pork loin rubbed up, ready to go on, looks wonderful. We're just gonna put it on this top rack at 275 degrees until it is done. We are using a probe for this, so we're gonna take a probe, go ahead and stick that right in the center and push it all the way into that center of that thing. That way we get that internal temperature to 145 degrees or so, maybe about 142 and it'll carry over. But that's what we're looking for, and then we'll pull this thing. Good thing about the Yoder is it does have Wi-Fi where you can take care of things. And so we're gonna go do some other stuff and we'll bring you guys back in about an hour. See you then. All right, so this pork loin's been running at 275 pretty consistently for about an hour now. Internal temperature's nowhere near done, but we wanted to check in, let you guys see how we're coming along after 1 hour in. Let's look at it. All right, like we said, we run at 275 degrees. Oh yeah, that color is looking good. So you see the color, that rub looks good. Man, this is gonna turn out great. So we still got a long ways to go. We'll check in about an hour and a half. We'll see you guys then. All right, that pork loin's been there for about an hour and a half. We're gonna look in on it, see if that rub is set, see if it's ready to start spritzing. Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, no problems there. Let's go ahead and get it to start spritzing. I wanna make sure we keep that real moist if we can. Remember, that is a really lean piece of meat. We wanna make sure that we keep it as moist as possible. So we'll probably spritz about every 30 minutes or so until we reach that internal temperature that we look for. We'll bring you guys back in about 30, 45 minutes, see where we're at. Looks like internal temperature right now is 124 degrees. We're looking for right at that 142 to 145. So we'll see you when that happens. All right, that pork loin is at 140 degrees internal. We're looking for 142 to 143. So we got about 10 or 15 minutes left on this thing. We're gonna get in here and get a glaze on it. We're gonna use a teriyaki glaze on this smoked pork loin. It's gonna be delicious. Let's get in there and do it. All right, so we've been rolling at 275 degrees. Oh yeah, this thing is looking good. As we said before, these pork loins are fairly lean, so we're gonna make sure that we add some of this glaze to it. Oh yeah. Then we'll just take this and then just, this thing is got full of garlic. Got some teriyaki flavors in it. It is gonna be delicious on this thing. We'll get this back on for about 10 or 15 minutes. Like we said, we're looking for that internal, about 142, 143. It'll carry over to that 145 that we're looking for. One of the biggest mistakes when cooking one of these is taking the temperature too high. So let me bring you in, let you look at the final result before we put it to bed. Sucker's looking good. Oh yeah. We'll bring you guys back in about 10, 15 minutes. Then we're gonna tint, foil it, and then we'll bring you back for the cut. See you then. All right, this thing should be done. Oh man, it is looking good too. Let me bring you in and let you have a look at it. Color looks great. Internal temperature's right at 143 degrees. Should carry over to 145. We'll get this thing pulled off. All right, after just a couple hours, this thing is done. And I tell you, it's a beautiful looking pork loin. Let me bring you in here for the cut. All right, let's get cut into this thing. We'll just take a slice right in the middle here. You see the smoke line around the end. Still got plenty of juice in it. Let's get a taste of this thing. Just cut into this. And get a cut of this. All right, again, this thing looks delicious. Hopefully you can see that. You can get it in front of my face. There you go. Got a good smoke ring around the outside. Let's give it a taste. Very tender, very juicy. I'm telling you, usually these come out pretty dry. This one was delicious. We'll catch you guys on the next cook. Hey, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can follow us on our journey as we figure out what's good, what's not good. And you know what? Just stuff we screw up on. Catch you next time.